What up, it's Dane. In this video I'm going to be talking about intermittent fasting. If you do it, will you lose muscle? So let's get into it. So first of all, let's cover what intermittent fasting is in 3 approaches. You have alternate day fasting, which is basically, it says it in the name, you fast for 24 hours. After you've done it, the next day you consume food for 24 hours and you keep doing that. Then we have whole day fasting, which is basically just eating at maintenance calories for the rest of the week for 5 days. And then for the last 2 days, you eat nothing. So you just eat nothing. That creates that maybe you say 2,500 or even 3,000, even more calorie deficit for the week to get that pound of fat loss from. And by the way, that never actually works out accurate all the time. You'll start losing more weight when you first start off with a cut, and then you'll start plateauing down. But anyway, I digress. So we have alternate day fasting, whole day fasting, and probably the most important one, or the most popular one, time restricted fasting or feeding. So this is probably the one you've seen on YouTube, the one you hear about all the time, which is the protocol where you fast for about 16 hours, then you have a 4 to 8 hour period eating window. So that's that. Now let's start with alternate day fasting and whole day fasting. Right? They've been compared, and in the research there hasn't been actually that much difference between the two in retaining lean mass. Now when I'm talking about retaining lean mass, I'm talking about maintaining the muscle mass that we've built from the bulk. So should you be doing intermittent fasting, or you're going to lose muscle? Now first of all, and all these different approaches, not one's better than each other. So I'm going to make that clear. There's not one that's better than each other, even though the time restricting feeding window, especially the lean gains one by Martin Berkhan, the 16A protocol, is the most popular, I'd say, on the internet at the moment, the one that's trending, right? So anyway, that's that. Now when it comes to lean gains, in the literature it has been repeatedly shown that lean gaining or retaining that lean mass is shown all the time, right? Not all the time, but repeatedly. So let's get into meal frequency. So a lot of people, they're like, okay, shit man, I'm not eating for 16 hours, man. I'm losing all these bicep gains I've got from my bulk. Now that can be the case and that can't be the case. Let's get into the meal frequency or even meal timing. So how many meals should you consume per day? The evidence, again, is a bit all over the place, but I'm going to throw a rough estimate out there. Again, I'm not going to pick an extreme. I'm not going to pick like 6 to 8 meals a day, and I'm not going to pick 1 to 2 meals a day. In my opinion, the best thing when it comes to fitness is just choosing a grayscale mindset, right? Avoid a black and white mindset. Pick what I call in the middle, right? So, and again, evidence has showed that a minimum of 4 meals per day, a protein dose of about maybe say 20 grams to 40 grams of protein is quite optimal, right? And again, there has been a systemic and meta-analysis by Alan Aragon and Bert Schoenfeld that actually showed eating 6 meals a day, and I can't remember the exact protein dosage. I think it was maybe 20 grams. Correct me if I'm wrong, whoever knows about this literature. However, these two guys conducted a meta-analysis, blah 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 blah, and actually found out that eating 6 meals a day actually meant fat loss and retaining lean muscle mass at the same time, right? Now one thing you have to know as well, that you can lose fat and build muscle at the same time, granted. However, in most cases it's not optimal, and in most cases I don't recommend people shoot for it. However, let me tell you the exact answer you probably want to hear. I say maybe a minimum of 4 meals per day. I wouldn't go over 6 meals per day, definitely not. That'd just be too draining on your brain, in my opinion. You'll just be living for food. So keep it 4 meals a day. Protein dosage about 20 to 40 grams. And one thing to remember as well, for maybe elderly, older people, maybe let's say, I don't know, 30 plus, I don't know the exact age. I haven't even read a study of how older people were. However, for older people, I'd recommend a protein dosage per meal of say about 35 to 40 grams of protein. And the reason being as well is because they need to consume more protein to get that leucine threshold. And if you didn't know, leucine is the essential amino acid, and it's real important to get anabolic and build more muscle. So that's the meal frequency, or even the meal timing, whichever one. Yeah, it's meal frequency actually. And I guess it could be timing, but not so much timing. Okay, so Is intermittent fasting going to lose gains? It's probably not, because like I said, in studies, it has been repeatedly shown that you cannot retain lean muscle mass. Now, I keep repeating myself, so let me get into probably the last thing I'm going to talk about here. Can you build muscle effectively on intermittent fasting? Again, some gurus will say, yeah man, this is the shit, man. And I don't disagree with them. I say pick the diet that suits you, right? Again, the more I learn about fitness is individual preference and adhering to the things that matters the most out of the big picture. Don't worry about the meal frequency, meal timing. There's no use of going on a conventional route of backpack with 6 meals, broccoli, rice, chicken, if you're lucky some tomato ketchup or something like that. There's no point of going a conventional route if you don't like it. That's what I do intermittent fasting, because I enjoy it. I find it easy. I don't like breakfast. If you're someone as well, and one thing I have to put out there, if you're someone that does sports like tennis, like I used to play, football in the morning, like real intense sport that requires a lot of energy, then why would you do intermittent fasting anyway? Because that's not related to performance. In most cases, I'd recommend intermittent fasting for individuals that are looking for peak aesthetics, right? And this is so important, because I know a lot of people think this. Intermittent fasting is not some magic approach that's just gonna like set the, I don't know, put the more coals into the fire and just like you burn fat, you know, when you're not eating or something like this. This is how it works. Even if you're not eating throughout the day, you might lose some body fat, but it's not just directly a body fat, right? And if you're eating a calorie surplus the whole day, you will still be gaining weight. So regardless of how long you go without eating, if you're eating a surplus, it still means gaining weight. Now, just before we end this video, I'm going to give my final conclusion. When it comes to gaining muscle, I don't always recommend intermittent fasting. However, again, individual preference comes first. If you like it, then do it. But when it comes to maximizing muscle gain, I say there's not enough meal frequency in there. There's not enough protein being eaten throughout the day. But that said, to be honest, I'll probably still do intermittent fasting when it comes to fat loss. However, when it comes to bulking, I don't personally even count my calories too much. I don't mind a little bit of fat gain, and I kind of every single day eyeball how much I eat. So anyway, that's enough about me. 4 meals per day, a protein dose of about 20 to 40 grams. And again, studies has repeatedly shown that individuals that undergo intermittent fasting do retain their lean muscle mass. However, it may not be optimal to build more muscle mass. Now, shit, 7 minutes 45. Okay, this video has been going on for really long. Let me know if you watched this video to this point. It'll be real interesting, because I think I've been talking a long time. Anyway, man, getting the value out there. Stay positive. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these real in-depth videos. And one thing I have to mention as well, just before we go, this evidence also does come from a systematic review, which is very close to a meta-analysis on a kind of hierarchy of strength of the researcher. It is kind of strong research, but again, individual preference comes first. Stay positive, stay smiling, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.